Elmo.
Here.
Trustee Berger.
Here.
Trustee Zalik.
Here.
Trustee Giesser.
Here.
Trustee Fruzaloni.
Here.
Trustee McCarthy.
Here.
Mayor Severino.
Here. Please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Their motion to approve the minutes of our December 4th, 2023 Village Board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee Fruzaloni. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Zalik.
Aye.
Trustee Giesser.
Aye.
Trustee Fruzaloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Tonight, we have the honor of actually putting in two commanders and a sergeant to swear in. So with that, Chief?
It's like deja vu all over again. All right, good evening, Mayor Severino, village board members, and village staff. Tonight is an exciting night for the police department as we fill the final key vacancies created during the most recent transition period. The three individuals that will be presented before you tonight will ensure our department achieves sustainable success for years to come. The first candidate that is presented for promotion is Commander John Gray. John is in his 18th year as a member of the Carroll Stream Police Department. Over the span of his career, Commander Gray has served as a patrol officer, field training officer, and gang and narcotics detective. John has had the ability to hone his investigative prowess during two separate assignments to multi-jurisdictional task force, the first being a state police narcotics interdiction team, and then as a special investigator with the DuPage County Merit Major Crimes Unit, where he currently holds the title of assistant commander. The work performed by John, as well as attention to detail and leadership capabilities, led to his promotion to sergeant in 2018. As sergeant, John supervised within the patrol division, special operations unit, and criminal investigation unit. Sergeant Gray is also a 2019 graduate of Northwestern School of Police Staff and Command. John is supported here tonight by a multitude of our officers and staff members, as well as our partners from the Carroll Stream Fire District. He is also joined by his wife Valerie, daughter Ellie, and son Gavin. Mayor, before you administer the oath of office, I'd like to invite John's daughter Ellie to come forward and present Commander Gray with his badge.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, John Gray,
Do solemnly swear that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
do solemnly swear that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the ordinances of the Village of Carroll Stream,
the ordinances of the Village of Carroll Stream,
and that I will faithfully discharge to the best of my ability
and that I will faithfully discharge to the best of my ability
the duties of Police Commander to the Village of Carroll Stream,
the duties of Police Commander of the Village of Carroll Stream.
dated at Carroll Stream, Illinois, this 18th day of December 2023. Congratulations, Commander Gray.
Thank you. I'll be brief because we've got three of these to get to. First of all, I'm honored to be standing in front of you this evening. I want to thank all of you in attendance coming out to support myself and John and Danae tonight. It means the world to us. To the Village Board, thank you for continuing to support our department. We couldn't do the things we do as an agency without your support behind us. Where's Chief Cummings? Chief Cummings, Chief Homer, I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for you. Thank you for your trust in me to fulfill this role. And finally, to my family, my wife Valerie, daughter Ellie, and son Gavin. Your support to me means the world to me, and I would not be able to do the job I do without your support. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that today is my 13th wedding anniversary. She insisted no gift, no special fancy dinners. You wanted to come here and be with us tonight. So, thank you very much, folks. Thank you.
And we're going to have you come up and take pictures with us. We're going to do this a little different. We want to give each one of them the opportunity to come up and take photographs with us. And we're going to take pictures.
Nice speech, too.
Anyone else?
That's good? Okay, we'll get ours later. She's like, I don't care.
The second candidate that goes before the board is John Buckles, who will also be serving in the rank of commander. John is in his 23rd year as a member of the Carroll Stream Police Department. Over the span of his career, Commander Buckles has served as patrol officer, field training officer, juvenile officer, detective, and corporal. The work performed by John in these various roles, as well as his ability to enhance the work environment of those around him, led to him being promoted to sergeant in 2017. As sergeant, John supervised within the patrol division and was tasked with overseeing the department's field training program. As field training coordinator, John was charged with the critical task of ensuring new police officers being trained to the standard that have become synonymous with the Carroll Stream Police Department. John holds a bachelor's degree from Western Illinois University in Law Enforcement and Justice Administration and is also a graduate of Northwestern School of Staff and Command. John is also supported here tonight by a multitude of our officers, staff members, fire district brethren. He's also joined by his wife Emily, daughter Bridget, sons Carter, Devin, and Luke, parents Barney and Margaret, and in-laws Tom and Jean. Mayor, before you administer the oath of office, I'd like to invite John's wife Emily to present Commander Buckles with his badge.
Oh, it's good, it's got big words, I believe it's. I can. Font's is big enough, so I'm good.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, John Buckles,
Do solemnly swear that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
do solemnly swear that I will uphold and support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the ordinances of the Village of Carroll Stream,
the ordinances of the Village of Carroll Stream,
and I will faithfully discharge to the best of my ability
and I will faithfully discharge to the best of my
the
ability
duties of Police Commander of the Village of Carroll Stream,
the duties of Police Commander of the Village of Carroll Stream.
dated at Carroll Stream, Illinois, the 18th day of December, 2023. Congratulations.
Thank you,
Commander
Frank.
Buckles.
I just wanted to sign it first and make it official before anybody changes their minds. Yeah, just in case.
Oh, we got a little bit.
No, it's just some talking points. First,
Well, the police department appreciates you guys letting us monopolize your last 3 or 4 board meetings. So hopefully after tonight, you guys can get on with the normal business of the village instead of entertaining all of us. So thank you, appreciate it. The first thing I put on my list was family, because my wonderful wife reminded me at least 10 times in the last 2 weeks that I forgot to mention her and family members last time. So this entire half of the room is family and friends. I really do appreciate you guys coming out tonight to be here. It means the world to me. As you guys, anybody that does our job knows, it can't be done without the support of family and friends. A lot of burden at home is picked up when we're all not at home because we have to be here. So I do appreciate it, and thank you very much for that. My friends from the fire department that are showed up, I think they're hiding in the hallway somewhere. I'm glad they were able to make it. They've been gracious to me over my years here and give me a place to rest, vent, eat, sit down for a minute, just to kind of relax on a busy day, and I will never know how much their hospitality means to me. And then last and by no means least, my coworkers that are here. I could not be successful in my positions without the officers that I've had on my shifts over the years. I've had some really good shifts with some fantastic officers, and I've had a front row seat to watch some fantastic police work happen. It's not always easy. Sometimes it's hard, sad, aggravating, but at the end of the day, when we walk out the door together in one piece, it's a good day. The officers that I've worked with over the years will have no idea ever, I don't think, how much I appreciate their help and support. I don't have enough words to describe it, so thank you. So let's get on with the night to another very important promotion. So thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.
You should just open those so we can snack while
The third and final candidate that goes before the board is Danae Pope, who will be sworn in to the rank of sergeant. Danae is in his 19th year as a member of the Carroll Stream Police Department. Over the span of his career, Sergeant Pope has served as patrol officer, school resource officer, and corporal. As a Glenbar North School resource officer for approximately 6 years, Sergeant Pope made indomitable impact on both school and staff. Danae championed a multitude of programs that allowed him to create meaningful and lasting relationships with the student body. Sergeant Pope's work in this field resulted in a multitude of awards and recognition, which includes the District 87 Inspire, Empower, Succeed Award, as well as being named as the 2018 Illinois School Resource Officer of the Year. In addition, Danae holds a bachelor's degree from Benedictine University. As similar to Commanders Gray and Buckles, Danae is supported this evening by multiple members of the Police Department and Fire District. Also joining him this evening is Danae's son Keon, daughters Taya and Kayla, father Arthur, brother D'Amico, and a plethora of family and friends. Mayor, before you administer the oath of office, I'd like to invite Danae's brother D'Amico to the podium to present Sergeant Pope with his badge.
Just for the record, the women did not need as much instruction to do the pinning. Just want to point that out.
repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Danae J. Pope,
Do solemnly swear that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
solemnly swear that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the ordinances of the Village of Carroll Stream,
the ordinances of the Village of Carroll Stream,
and I will faithfully discharge to the best of my ability
and I will faithfully discharge to the best of my ability
the duties of Police Sergeant of the Village of Carroll Stream.
the duties of Police Sergeant of the Village of Carroll Stream.
Dated at Carroll Stream, Illinois, this 18th day of December 2023. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Real quick,
Never lost for words.
I'm a man of many words, but this is a family show, so words not here. Thank you to Fire and Police Commission for giving me this chance, the department as well. Also, thank you for the past Fire and Police Commission that hired me, so I'm appreciative of that. I want to say thank you to my coworkers and friends in the department. I'm able to go home every night at the end of shift because y'all got my back, and y'all words of encouragement over the years, I appreciate it. Special shout out to Glenbar North, the staff and students and administration. Like, that job helped me to prepare for where I am now. Made me a better police officer, made me a better dad, made me a better human being. So for that, I am grateful for the people there. To my family, thank y'all very much for having my back and accepting me for me. And, whether you help me just by keeping me grounded, helping me with my kids now that they're older. Just thank you. I can't say enough. And if any of y'all wondering why I'm still here or why I'm here, it's because that guy right there, because he said he would make fun of me if I failed the power test. If you don't like it, blame him. And also, I thank my mom. She's no longer with us, but without her love and her guidance and her sacrifice, I don't know if I'd be here. So for her, I'm hoping that what me and her, my siblings are doing are making her proud. And I'm just hoping if she watching this program right now, she like what's going on. So for that, I say thank you all, appreciate it.
We're going to get all three of them up?
Yeah.
Sure. Chief, we
John,
can get all three
Danae,
up.
we're all going to take one big group picture.
So we got it.
we're going to take 5 minutes to let the room clear before we get on with the rest of our meeting.
When I told my wife I was gonna come over here tonight, I had no idea this was gonna happen. And the shirt,
I'm sure.
I was gonna
Oh,
wear-
well done.
I like the shirt, so, I just wanna say, I'm not here to talk about pot or dispensaries or anything like we've done in the past, okay? Just here to say a great big thank you to each and every one of you for 2023. When I look back at Carol Stream over this year, starting with the Memorial Day ceremony over at the Vets Memorial there, I've got relatives there back to World War I, blood relatives whose names are in those bricks. One of the finest things that you do as a community is have those types of things. And we go to fast forward to the 4th of July parade. I saw several of you out there. It was hot, you're sweating. And I had my grandkids there, and little did I know when I moved in here in 1983, when there was no 4th of July parade, that we'd have something like this going on today. I'm on my third house, and again, just a good indication of what the leadership you're providing for our community. And then beyond that, we go to the Fall Fest and the car show and the Beatles knockoff band, and yet we got stuff drizzling down all around us in Illinois. I mean, face it, I got 18 friends, I'm keeping a list, that are not here anymore. I didn't think I was that unpopular, but you know what? They're gone, I'm here, glad to have you as leadership. Great job in 2023, and be ready for more in 2024. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, too.
So the next thing on our agenda, we have a public hearing tonight. So is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So do we open it? Do we open it, or it was already open, wasn't it?
Was it where, this is an extension, so we have to reopen it?
Yeah.
correct? Okay.
So moved to reopen?
Second?
Moved by trustee Geezer, seconded by trustee McCarthy. Clerk call the roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Geezer.
Aye.
Trustee Bruzaloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
So this is a public hearing, annexation agreement for 1475 West Lees Road. This public hearing was continued from December the 4th, 2023 Village Board meeting, as has been noticed and received comments from the public regarding and proposed annexation agreement of the property at 1475 West Lees Road for the Villas of Fair Oaks duplex development. And Don, do you have anything to add to this?
Not really. This is the project that we've been talking about on the 9-acre piece of property at Fair Oaks and Lees Road. This is the public hearing, so you should see if there's anybody in the audience with public comment. The applicant is here, and they're prepared to answer any questions, but it's up to the board if they would like any more information about the project or if you have any questions.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak about this development that's going in on Lees Road in Fair Oaks? Any of the board have anything that they'd like to?
Just a timeline of how long you think it'll take to start and then complete?
Are there people that are building that here?
Yes.
Hi. Good evening.
Hi.
I'm Caitlin Chuck with the law firm Rosenova and Whitaker. We plan on completing this within 2 years, hoping to open next fall.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it?
Any other questions?
Storyboards over here and everything.
Those aren't mine.
No, that's something else.
It's all good.
Yep. So any other questions you have, we're happy to answer.
Question. I want to thank you because when we talked back, when we first talked about this, I asked if you'd cut the density down a little bit, and they did. And I think that was wonderful that you did that. I like what I'm seeing. I hope that the people all coming by it's a quality-looking operation that you're building, so thank you.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Motion to close the public hearing,
So moved?
Second.
moved by trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee Zalek. Clerk, call a roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Giesert.
Aye.
Trustee Frusaloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Is there a motion to establish a consent agenda?
So moved?
Second.
Moved by trustee Frusaloni, seconded by trustee Anselmo. Clerk, call a roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Giesert.
Aye.
Trustee Frusaloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read what is on the consent agenda?
Certainly. Old business. Ross Ferraro Town Center Study presentation by Maynard Consulting.
That'd be off.
That comes off because it's.
Pulled off. Staff reports and recommendations. Award of contract to Trans-System Corp. for professional services to provide Phase 1 and 2 engineering for the Fullerton Avenue pavement rehabilitation project at a cost not to exceed $185,035 pursuant to the provisions of Section 5-8-3B and 5-8-14A of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Klein Creek Trail, Coon to Thunderbird Bennett, change order number 1, increasing the subject purchase order to Action Fence Contractors, Inc. for the total price of $21,682 pursuant to the provisions of Section 5-8-14C of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances.
Yes.
Yes.
Approval of WRC Clarifier Number 4, rebuild change order number 1 to Operations Management International, Inc., amending the project completion date from December 31st, 2023 to April 30th, 2024.
Yes. Yes.
Award of a contract to MGP at a cost not to exceed $161,087 for 2023 to 24 GIS Consortium Services pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 5, Article 8, Section 5-8-14F of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances.
Yes.
Yes.
Ordinances. Ordinance approving paid leave benefits for village employees.
Yes.
Yes.
That is ordinance number 2023-12-59. Ordinance amending Chapter 11, Article 2 of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances by increasing the number of Class VC liquor licenses from 5 to 6. Lucky Rocks LLC, doing business as Lucky Rocks Bar and Grill, 920 Army Trail Road.
Yes.
Yes.
That is ordinance number 2023-12-60. Ordinance approving an annexation agreement with Bridge Street Properties LLC and Pulte Home Company LLC.
Yes.
Yes.
That is ordinance number 2023-12-61. Resolutions. Resolution authorizing the execution of a contract between the Village of Carroll Stream and John Fiati as administrative adjudicator for automated traffic law enforcement red light and administrative tow hearings expiring December 31st, 2024.
Yes.
Yes.
That is resolution number 3342. New business, raffle license application, Carroll Stream Rotary Club. Approval of a raffle license and waiver of the fee and manager's fidelity bond for their ultimate golf raffle to be held on February 8th, 2024 at the Carroll Stream Holiday Inn.
Yes.
Yes.
Payment of bills, regular bills, December 5th, 2023 through December 18th, 2023.
Yes.
Yes.
Addendum warrants, December 5th, 2023 through December 18th, 2023.
Yes.
Yes.
Treasurer's report, revenue expenditure statements and balance sheet for the month ended November 30th, 2023.
Received.
And that concludes the items on the consent agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Is there a motion to put those items on the consent agenda?
So moved?
Second.
Moved by trustee Frusaloni, seconded by trustee McCarthy. Clerk, call a roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Giesert.
Aye.
Trustee Frusaloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve those items by omnibus vote?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Giesert, seconded by trustee Zalick. Clerk, call a roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Berger.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Giesert.
Aye.
Trustee Frusaloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
So we're back to the report, G1, on the Ross Ferraro Town Center study that was done.
We've got Manhart Consulting is here tonight, Your Honor, to present their findings. As you'll recall, probably back in early summer, we contracted with Manhart Consulting to do a space study, which was consisting of a SWOT analysis, which was taking a look at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for the town center and its open space. And then also began preparing design concepts to reflect and address the concerns that we had related to the property. This has been finalized after a lot of feedback from staff, from the village trustees, as well as input from the Park District. And so they're here tonight to present that, and we'll go move forward from there. Just an item of note, this is information only this evening, and so we're not looking, staff is not looking for any actions tonight. We'll take the direction or feedback we received from the trustees this evening and utilize that for our future budget and capital planning needs, with full recognition that this will very likely require grant funding or external funding sources to allow for these things to come to fruition.
Hold on, it's not recognizing it.
This is always the fun part of the presentation.
Oh, there it goes, yeah.
Getting the technology to work. After that, it's smooth sailing.
Well, this is how it begins. We see nothing, and then we let's envision what the town center will look like.
I think you'll like it once you see it.
It's pretty. Let's see if that works. How do I display just that part up on the screen? All right, I haven't done this for a little bit, so. Okay, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thanks. All right, so I'm Matt Nelson. I'm the head of the Landscape Architecture and Land Planning Department at Manhart Consulting. Joining me is Todd Stanton. He's with Design Perspectives, and he assisted our team with some of the landscape architecture on the project. We appreciate the opportunity to have been working with Joe Carey and his wonderful staff with the village. Together, we've come up with a vision for the future growth of, whoops, sorry, I'm not used to this here. For the future growth of the Ross Farrar Town Center. Today, we're going to give a quick overview of the study that we've prepared and give the board an opportunity to discuss the project afterwards. Town Center was dedicated in 1998 and was intended to serve as the downtown for the village. It hosts many of the village's community events, concerts, and festivals. Growing demand for the larger and more frequent events have pushed it beyond its capacity, and modernization is required as well for its future growth. We started the study with a site analysis and a SWOT analysis, and then used that data to prepare 3 concept plans. After review of those concepts with stakeholders, we consolidated that plan into a final concept plan for the park, and from there prepared an estimated budget, and then phasing plan and strategy. A SWOT analysis is the study of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We conducted this analysis during stakeholder meetings, and these are the results and the feedback we received. So strengths include the location of the park. It's very convenient for the community. We always have good turnout, and there's steady demands for events. Weaknesses, there's limited capacity of the park. The infrastructure is kind of weak out there. It doesn't really hold up to a lot of bigger events. It's difficult to access. It's an outdoor park space, so when there's seasonal issues, there's weather events, it causes problems. Opportunities, a lot of opportunities for the existing stage. Right now, the stage doesn't really function well for lots of different types of bands and venues. Short term, we can make a lot of adjustments to the park layout. Long term, there's a lot of opportunities for modernization of the park. And there's opportunities to try to make it a Four Seasons destination. Threats to the park, staffing for manpower, there's just in a shortage. As you make it bigger, you need more manpower to staff the events. Infrastructure, obviously, that's a recurring issue. There's just electrical issues that we need to take care of to support a larger development. Weather's always an issue you can't really predict, so we need to try to account for that. And then the concession building, as we grow the demand for the park, the concession building just has extra pressure on it.
I'm just gonna add that, it was pretty uniform. We had those discussions back in July and August that the SWOT was pretty clear, both from the analysis the design team did as well as the staff, that it functions extremely well for what it is, but there's a lot of opportunity to do much more with that space. So that's pretty much what it comes down to, a significant conclusion.
Yep. So we also conducted a site analysis where we visited the site in person, inspect site conditions. Key takeaways from both the SWOT and the site visits include the stage facilities and viewing areas. There's just limitations to it. It's kind of a small consolidated space. The existing band shelter, as we know, it's small. The columns just make it very difficult for viewing of kind of a larger groups. There are parking shortfalls out there, as we know, with just limited space. Infrastructure we've talked about, lack of shelter we've talked about, visitor center. There's a lack of continuity in the park. Everything's kind of grouped to one side, and the rest of it is either parking or just kind of unused space. And then there are some potential issues with floodplain that will need to be looked at a little bit more when it gets to engineering. So from here, after we looked at the different analysis portions of things, we started looking at the concept plan itself. Our goals were really overall to look at improving the stage and viewing experience of the park, to look at improvements to the site infrastructure and electrical systems, to try to look at how we can expand the parking and other services to improve access, expansion of the visitor center, and to provide more bathrooms and vendor areas, to organize the park vendor spaces for better access and opportunities at community events, provide additional shelters and protective areas for the weather and year-round uses, and development of a more contiguous park and desirable features for all settings, event sizes, and passive recreation uses. So just make it a more inclusive park for everybody. So I'm going to kind of try to quickly run through the first three park concepts that we utilized to get input to narrow it down to our final plan. So the first concept really looked at keeping the existing band area and that kind of central green space the same, but replacing the band shelter with a larger shelter area. So we kind of kept the central green area as it was, larger shelter, and then we kind of created two more greens along towards the west, moving the band shelter as another feature on the opposite end, so you kind of bookmarks each end of the stage area. Then we created playgrounds and kind of a seating area and kind of more of an activity area near the the visitor center, sorry. And then common to all the concepts, we looked at trying to expand some parking along Fountain View Drive. We moved the storage shed area down towards the south, and then we were investigating the idea of maybe doing an ice skating rink kind of towards the center of the park area. The second concept moves the band shelter kind of north along the pond, creating a much larger lawn space and viewing area for the park. It creates a kind of entrance gateway along the south and a seating area and play area near the visitor center, and then a secondary vendor area along the west, with many of the same features as the park as before. It maintains the existing band shelter for, again, other smaller uses, shelter from weather events and things to that effect. And then the last concept moves the band shelter all the way to the west side of the park and utilizes some of the existing parking area for a viewing area. that would assume that we would have to bus in more parking, and obviously we lose some of the existing parking space. It also creates a large shelter area where you could have vendors throughout the summertime, ice rink in the winter, and it really kind of creates a more of a heavily activity area on that stretch and creates more of a passive park area along the kind of northeast section. Feedback from the different groups of these three areas basically was determined that parking along Fountain Drive wasn't feasible at all. So we dropped that idea. Ice rink and splash pad, also the park district didn't support that, so those ideas were kind of dropped all around. There was an interest in a play area for children, but the traditional structured play area was not really necessarily on the table. There's a lot of liability there, a lot of cost, but we do like the idea of a play area. So as you see later, we kind of looked at some other ideas for that. There was a strong desire for maybe a shaded patio near the visitor center, something where we can do more of a permanent picnic area, beer gardens, things for events, something where we can create more shade, a little more sheltered area for weather events. And other feedback was incorporated into the final design as well. Of the three concepts, there was really overwhelming support for concept 2. So you'll see the final concept is very similar to concept 2, but incorporating a lot of the other ideas from stakeholder input. So this is the final concept and the same one that's on the board here. So as you can see, it basically eliminates the parking, it eliminates the ice rink and dedicates that back to kind of the central existing parking area. The band shelter is up along the north, along the pond area. The idea here is this would be a much larger shelter with fully open front area, able to accommodate, a variety of different acts. There could be a variety of different upgrades to this, including a movie screen, so you could have movies in the park right off the band area. We could create a backdrop to help with any sort of noise in the background. There's lighting rigs, and there's all sorts of different things depending on what kind of budget wants to be done there. That would have to be looked through in further studies. This approach also creates a much larger area, a wider area for people to sit, have unobstructed views of the stage area. So lots more opportunities. Yes.
I don't know if you want us to ask questions as you're going, or.
That's fine, yeah.
But you brought up seating, and that was one of my questions. Do you have a way of estimating the amount of seating available the way it is today, where it's viewable, where you can see the stage versus this plan? Or even a percentage difference?
I don't recall off the top of my head the exact number, but it was a pretty significant increase and a lot more unobstructed views because we were able to take some of those trees out and open the view without removing a lot of the trees along the perimeter. Because right now, as it sits, the circle, you have a lot of the perimeter trees where people in the main circle have a great view.
Right.
As you step back, all those views start to disappear, and then the topography really starts to hurt your view.
Yeah.
Where in this approach, it's spread horizontally where everyone kind of gets to view in. So that was a kind of thought process. You get a much better view. The sound also is directed where you don't have as much noise from the streets because you're kind of pulled away from the roadways better. So location of the band shelter made a bit more sense there. You also don't have a lot of the sunset issues because the sun's to the side rather than front or back. So, so that location really makes a lot of sense. We also, just talking location, we moved the play area idea away from the visitor center. And on here we've showed two options. One is kind of towards the kind of intersection area here, kind of away from the parking lot, and the other option is towards the existing band shell here. The thought process being is, as parents are watching the show, they have direct line of sight to the kids, but it's far enough away from the additional climbing space, yes.
Is the new band shelter going to be elevated? Like, how high, like, up is it gonna be? Is it gonna be ground level, or is it gonna be a little higher?
It would be stepped up. Again, this is still very early stage, so we don't have full details, but the thought would be, it would be on a concrete pad with a few, similar to what you have out now, a few steps of large concrete step ups, maybe a few feet up, but it's still very early concepts, so that would be the next logical step. So let's see, where was I? So yeah, we have a few play areas. Near the visitor center, we would be looking to potentially expand the visitor center to add a few more vendor spaces, some more bathroom expansions. Next to the visitor center, we would expand this into a larger patio area with a covered pergola. That would be where we could do, again, a picnic area, beer gardens. It's a nice area, just to be able to, again, have a lot of service areas from the visitor center. You can service that very quickly and easily for any sort of events. We've created a gateway to the park on access with the stage area. This could also help for any sort of events. You can control your ticketing, if you're doing ticketing, but it's a controlled entry point. So if you run fencing around here, you can just control security, be able to keep an eye on people. And then it creates a nice identity to the park as well. Again, there's lots of different ways you go with this. You can go very complex, you can go very simple. That's something we kind of go through in the design stage, design development. And then surrounding the park, you can sort of see in light green, we've created these little vendor pads in this perimeter and then a group in this perimeter as well. And I'll show this in the next slides. The thought is every other pad would have what's we're calling a power column, which would be just a masonry column. From the outside, it would look like along the path, it would have like a small pedestrian light, but on the back side, it would have power sources with a lockable box. So every time either a vendor tent or a food truck would pull up, they could easily come up, their power sources are right there. It really saves staff a lot of time and money from having to really work the sites as they do now.
How tall would those be? Okay.
So the thought would be, it'd be about this height, so if people want to kind of sit against them, they could. It becomes an architectural feature, an identifying feature of the property.
And I know you're not doing the electrical layout, we're, we're not there, but.
Not yet, but.
What, and maybe staff could answer this too, but knowing our current challenges with power, as we've seen the last couple of years, how many circuits are we thinking, like each column would take? Would they, each column be their own circuit, or any thoughts on that?
So I think that's something we definitely go into more detail once we have additional electrical improvements. I mean, that's something that we want to be strategic about, number of pads that we construct. Obviously, what's being presented is a much more holistic viewpoint of having pads throughout the town center, whereas depending on the approach we want to take, you might only do certain areas in which that would dictate the number of circuits that would be needed.
Everything could be phased in, but it was pretty clear from the SWOT analysis that the current electrical system out there is not functional. So it really wouldn't be a piecemeal, it would be a complete gut job renovation, so it would be set up for the next 20 years. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, my understanding from when we were initially talking is it's not as much a matter of how much power is there. They have a lot of power. It's the access to the power is difficult. And yeah, the distribution, because it's all underground, getting down to it, connecting. It's very difficult for staff to do, very time consuming. And if we can get that cleaned up and very easily and quick to access points, that makes it way easier for everyone, much cost savings and easier for vendor to say, hey, I want to be out here and set up and this.
I just know from doing like the Taste of Carroll Stream and the Geek Fest, we were blowing circuits somewhere, so.
And that's important because the power was connected to the adjacent streetlights, or not streetlights, the lights along the pathway. And those are all connected from a circuit in the fountain. Whereas farther along where we currently have the Christmas tree, the holiday tree, that's a completely different side. And that area has a lot of power. Problem is, of course, that's not where we're holding our events. And so that's where the issue is that we're running into.
And
speaking of power, and this is probably more of a staff question, so have we discussed exactly where, if we pulled it up out of the vault, where that power structure would go?
We've debated with the visitor center, just because that's easy access from the back storage area. That's the initial thought.
In a building or some type of structure is definitely safe and secure, for not only for your employees, but also for the public, so having it enclosed, locked, and just in a secure location would definitely be.
And above ground?
Absolutely. No one does vaults anymore, it's a confined space, not good to get into, so yeah. Simple, easy, clean, manageable.
Yes.
The proposed amphitheater you have here, is that gonna, sound-wise, will that compare to the same sound that we would be challenged with the gazebo? Because most of the sound is usually challenged for a sound man, that it echoes above, you know? So would this remedy?
Yes, this is more designed for sound type of situations. Now, as I was hinting with upgrades, there are a lot of things that can be done with this. One of the things on our suggestions would be just a backdrop. We can certainly put a back wall, we can put wing walls to direct the sound forward. Electrical upgrades would be good. You can put light trays up above. I know we went to an event, for example. One of the things we did as part of this project, we went to witness some shows and see how they function and how the bands function, and went behind stage. We interviewed some of the people that ran the shows and to get their opinions. And the lighting and the electrical and the sound is challenging because it's hard to get things underneath and around the columns. So building that stuff in is helpful. It doesn't have to be that specific stage, but that is one that is sized well. It has room for people to move. It has room for the audience to see in, and then you can customize. The standard one would have just steel posts coming down on the ground. You can build around the posts. You can decorate them up. You can add green rooms if you want. You can add sidewalls. The sky's the limit. It really just comes down to what the budget is and what features you want. But yes, those are designed well. The roofs are cantilevered in the right way and angled where it kind of pushes the sound outwards, so.
Thank you.
Piggybacking off of that too, since we're talking about the stage, you know, with the backdrop and then maybe some type of, I don't know, like partial wall where like a band can store their equipment behind that, so it's more visually appealing, you know, if they have cases and things like that. Something else.
Well, and a band likes to have a little bit of a grand entrance too, so it's nice to have them behind and walk out.
Or rise out of the pond.
Yeah. Water show, right. So yeah, and so there's a lot of different options that would be explored in the next phase of this as to what that pavilion looks like, but this is about the right size and shape, but there's a lot of different options there.
And the proximity with the focal point of that open turf area, it would need to be some type of architectural marvel, something very exciting, something very custom unique to the Carroll Stream. Because its placement within the design is going to be focal point, much like your current visitor center. So that's going to be an important piece of the overall equation on how that functions, what it looks like from an aesthetic and just from a functional point of view. So that's going to be an important decision when and how that goes forward. It'll be a pivotal piece of the overall success of the new space.
Yeah. Agreed.
Great questions.
Yeah, excellent. And then, so on the same page too, this shows, this is an example on the bottom there, that power column we were talking about. This is the backside with the access panel. It looks a little blue on the screen, but it would be just kind of again, a masonry veneer on there. And then on the opposite side, that would be facing towards the path and kind of public, the thought would be just to have like a downlight, a pedestrian level downlight, almost like a lighted bollard. So you'd have a nice lighting at night and some safety. You know, we'd like to kind of take a lot of the existing lighting. There's a lot of lights out there, which is good for safety, but nowadays we can get the same amount of lighting without as many structures. So it will kind of clean up the look. Between the proper amount of upright lighting and then pedestrian level kind of down lighting from the columns, I think we'll have a very nice lighting look there. And then above that is an example of just what the vendor pad would look like. So roughly every other pad, we would have a column and then a space. And so that helps define it visually without having to mark it out.
And those pads would support a food truck, or is it more of a tent setup with equipment?
The thought would be to keep it flexible. So if you have a column every other one, they're spaced roughly about 20 feet wide. So you could have a food truck, you could have, a tent. You could have every one. It's meant to be a little bit flexible space. So either one would work. The thought would be for bigger festivals, the west side there could be full of food trucks. And then during shows, you could have tents on the east side. And then they were designed too, where you would have the trucks around the perimeter and the food tents around the perimeter. And then the center, you'd have the green space. So you could have picnic tables and people could kind of get their food or get whatever they're buying and then come in the center and be able to kind of sit down and eat and socialize and enjoy without having to like leave the area. So it's kind of confined little spaces.
Well, let's start, do you have anything else?
Yeah, we're just about wrapped up here. These are just some photos of, this is the kind of the play area look. So again, no equipment, just the thought would be like earth mounds, tunnels under the mounds, little climbing structures, naturalized type things. And then some examples of like the gateway ideas of just vertical structures, maybe some masonry walls. Again, this can be different levels, but the thought is to create some focal points towards that, the stage area, a gateway into the park. But this can go many different ways. And then this is really the area I'm sure most people want to focus on, the budget. So we did look at the costs. We pretty much went all in on the numbers. At this stage, we obviously want to be a little liberal with the numbers on things, and we kind of put all options in there. So we went a little aggressive, but through phasing and through value engineering on certain pieces, obviously you don't have to have every bell and whistle here. So we think, obviously, as the project moves on, we'll be able to work through these. But the entire project, if all was in, would be about $3.5 million, and then with contingencies and design fees, that would bring it about 4.7. That would be phased. We would suggest the first phase would be walkways and the electrical, get that figured out and working and functioning. Second phase, I'd suggest the stage and the play area then be brought in. And then the third phase, get that entrance gateway and the patio pergola area, and then the upgrades to the visitor center completed there. Now, there are a lot of ways to make the project work well, and funding is obviously a big thing. This one's set up really well for grants, public funding, sponsorships. It's such a public project. I think there's a lot of great opportunities. And Todd is probably the best expert in the room here as far as understanding some of these funding sources. So I'm going to let him
I'll
kind
just
of go into some
keep
detail
it
on that.
pretty brief, but, I mean, obviously, having some of your own capital dollars invested in the project is definitely a must, depending on what that looks like and how many years. The numbers are pretty good for about 24 to 36 months. We have inflation things built into that. But on the other side, there's lots of free money out there. The state has some wonderful programs, as you know. Since it is sort of an open space park-like setting, you're eligible to apply for the open space land acquisition development grants, which are available pretty much every year. They've had historic funding the last 2 years. Our governor has been really draining that fund, but the money will always be there in some form or fashion. $600,000 up to $1.2 million total. So it doesn't cover all the costs, but you could do 1 or 2 phases to pick up almost half that capital investment if you so choose to do that. It's a very competitive application. Your neighbor, the Park District's been successful. You'll be competing against them and other like-minded villages, libraries, town timing is good to look at possible application for next year as far as an up phase. And then you have 2 years to complete that project. So this investment you made here is a great first step, but it'll pay dividends if you do have to go after funding because it shows a clear vision of what you want to do. There's private foundation funding as well. And there's also obviously DECO funding as well for tourism and other type of applications. So lots of things in that wheelhouse as far as public money, and then also some private foundation money, which you might be able to capture as well. So probably a variety of funding sources, but obviously phase one is an important first step to get the ball moving.
And then sponsorships. I think there's a lot of sponsorship opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, that would be another avenue. Some great donors out there have had projects where they rolled out a good campaign and they were getting over $1 million for different elements within these projects. So that is also another opportunity to do a good sponsorship package and develop the ideas on how much things cost and what people would like to put their money behind. So again, that's more of that private sector funding, but it's a great project. I think someone would be willing to invest money to have something of a legacy within the village.
Is part of your final report, with staff, or maybe you guys have already worked through some of this, giving advice as to some of the grant money, some of the details behind that, and maybe how some of those successful sponsorship pitches were put together, and what worked and what didn't?
We can share some of that with Joe. I mean, the OSLAG grant's a pretty straightforward application. We have lots of expertise working with clients on that. I've had another client who has raised about $400,000 out of $1 million for a pickleball facility, and they have a lot of sponsorships, which I can share with you as far as how they went about putting those packages together, securing money through different funding sources, including things like the Rotary and other service organizations get behind these pretty significantly as well. I know you've done some of that in the past. So yeah, we can share some of that package development so you have opportunities to pursue all that.
I feel like I'm doing all the talking. I had one other question, but I wanted to look and make sure nobody else looked like they were getting ready to
Might
talk.
be the chairman of the committee to advance this.
Going back to the design a little bit, the shade structure that you were talking about next to the visitors center, obviously that's going to protect you a little bit from the sun, but if it starts raining during a concert, which we've had happen, and we've had to huddle in bathrooms and everything before, it's not going to help us too much there. If we're going to go through the trouble of building a shade structure, it might be nice to have something similar to what you would see like at a forest preserve where the picnic tables are, a roof with the pillars going around to actually protect from the weather. Just a very rough estimate, would that double the cost of the shade structure, or?
It depends on the size. I've worked on a project right now where we're doing a shade structure for about 100 people, and that's about a $150,000 purchase just for the material. So you can get some very large structures that if you want to provide those opportunities for a good amount of people to seek refuge under that, definitely possible. And that actually is a pretty high-end look, so it could be a little bit less. But lots of opportunities, lots of space for those kind of things. You could start with one and add another. So the nice thing about this is pretty flexible. You can also go fabric, which we debated, but that also is a little bit more maintenance for your staff and subject to a little bit more of those weather extremes.
They do have some structures too where you can pull during events fabric across underneath them.
So if it's a pergola, more open air structure, you can provide some protection with sort of transparent roofing or, like I said, that fabric that could be pulled over the top. But I think you're leaning towards something a little bit more permanent, a little bit more substantial. It would tie in nicely to the van shell and your current, sort of building footprints out there. So absolutely.
And that is also part of the reason we preserve the band shell, is that does provide, it's not gigantic, but it does provide some additional shelter area during events. So the, just the last slide here, we were just going to talk, the next steps really on the project will be to craft a public engagement strategy, to start building support for working towards implementation, engage in a design consultant to advance the concept plans for more schematic drawings, to understand the costs a little closer and the opportunities, pursue opportunities for grants, local, state, federal, explore sponsorship opportunities, and help secure funding. And then from there, start the construction document prep, and then on to bidding, permitting, construction, obviously in phases. Projects like this, they don't happen quickly. They require wise but significant investment of resources into the greatly enhanced space and vision of the study. This is the heart of the village's community events, and it's worth the investment into its future. If broken down into manageable phases and worked with funding sources, it can be achieved and become a wonderful space. It's been a pleasure working on this project and with Joe's team, and looking forward to seeing how it develops for future generations.
I'd like to thank you. I think you did an excellent job putting this together. There's a lot of options. It gives us a lot to think about. And I love the idea of the sponsorships and the grant money. We do a lot now with grant money, so we understand that. So what I want to do is I'd like to start with, even though you had most of the questions, start with Trustee Berger. Do you have any questions?
I think I asked plenty already.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Trustee Fieser?
My comments, there are more comments that I think we need to think about, as well as staff, but I'd like you to hear them as well. My vision of the town center is, as we enter, we worked hard to make the Veterans Memorial kind of a focal point. So I think an entrance area might be something we don't need. So, but as you mentioned, ticketed events, now that's something we have to talk about as a governing body. What do we see this area as? Do we see this as a place where we're going to throw up fence and need a ticketing area? Are we going to be doing things throughout the year that we need the bigger shelter area? Or in the shelter area even with walls? Are we going, and if we do these things, are we going to be committing to funding these throughout the years? Because yes, 4.7 million, yeah, I mean, that's, yeah, again, we know it's phased, but 4.7 million is just the start. If we're going to build it, we got to do something with it. So there will be additional costs. Yes, we are doing our summer concerts. Yes, we're doing our different things, and we would begin to do other things. But I just want to make sure we're all thinking that this isn't the end of the money.
Exactly.
This isn't the end. And that doesn't mean we shouldn't do it, but as long as we go in with our eyes open, thinking of that. When we first discussed this whole thing, my vision was we've got to, bare minimum, fix the electric. We just got through a tree lighting ceremony. Not that we're not going to become Lilacia Park, not that we're going to become Morton Arboretum, but if we had better electrical, we could do something throughout the park. We could do trees throughout the pathway along the roadways. Nobody, just based on the feedback we've gotten at our other events, nobody wants to use the portalettes. We rent them, we pay for them. So we, in my mind, we need to expand the bathrooms and the visitor center. At least the women's, I mean, we have low, even our low attendance Thursday night concerts, we have lines out the women's door. I think we need to approve that. Now, the stage, it would be terrific to have a stage, and you had the stage. Would that be similar, do you know what the West Chicago stage looks like in Reed Kepler Park? Is that similar, just an open area with, the way you showed it, it looks like that. Do people know that stage in Reed Kepler Park? But then there's facilities in, because you mentioned then green rooms and additional things. There's places like in Downers Grove that have the additional,
Official Park.
the bigger.
Probably not quite as big as Fischel Park, that's.
Right,
But
but see,
yes,
I would
they're-
contend those bathrooms are poorly
Mm-hmm.
located as well. But,
But the scale actually, I grew up in Downers Grove.
Okay.
And the scale of the space in front is actually designed based on the Fischel Park.
it's a
area.
horizontal rather.
Because,
or-
and I actually measured and spaced it a lot based on that, because it fits a great crowd very well on the viewing area. So that's, spatially works, stage size is about the same. But yes, I don't see this being the big green rooms and built-in bathrooms, and that's a very expensive.
Because I was gonna say, if we're thinking that, then what are we bringing in? Are we bringing in Hamilton? I mean, what are we gonna be bringing in there? Now, in looking at the designs where the stage are, or the stage is proposed, and you mentioned there could be some additional engineering and flood wa, are we encroaching into any, being so close to the shoreline, maybe engineering department knows something about that? Or is that fine to build up that close to the shoreline there?
Yes, that you could do that.
Okay, so then that's, so my main point is, when I've had these conversations with staff, I want to improve the electrical, I want to improve the bathroom. I don't quite see the need for the bigger stage at this point. I can't, I guess I could be convinced, but I don't quite see that unless we're gonna definitely commit to doing bigger things. I like the idea of the pedestals around, but then at the same time, Trustee Zalek, you're a former police officer, village, when we have these pedestal things, we've had the pedestal lights, we have little, little people going around,
I
kicking
think
them over
those-
and stuff. and
These
damaging-
structures are a little more,
Yeah,
like,
okay.
a little more solid than a
Understand.
pedestal where someone can kick
Okay.
that. I mean,
So, so my main thing is I just want us to go in with our eyes open and, but I think the improvements to the electrical, the infrastructure, and the visitor center are essential. I don't mind the pergola area. I don't, I think that might be, somewhat nice, but that's it.
Thank you, trustee.
Can I just piggyback off of? In having a larger stage, like, I'm not thinking we're gonna get the Rolling Stones, to come here, because, or anything like that. But, having more options, having the high school choir perform, or the high school band, or maybe a band or musical organization from COD, something like that, that just allows us to make better use of the space, and have a bigger footprint on the stage, not looking to bring in huge acts into the park and increase costs that way.
To that point, and I'll let Matt define it, but I think the space is roughly the same size. It's just a better platform to view. I mean, you can see in this picture right now, we were kind of back 40. You can't see anybody on that stage. I mean, part of it is just, we're pretty far back, but just the structure was never really envisioned to be what it has become.
Right.
So, it's not like a huge departure. It's just really set up for what you want to use it for.
But acoustically, it's.
Yes, but for me, from
a bit of a mess.
as a landscape architect, everything's visual, right? So I just look at that picture and I see all these wonderful people enjoying it, and they can hear the music, but you can't see the performers. Because it's
Well,
just,
if you look at the performers, they're all outside of the stage.
yeah, but I mean, they blend into everybody in front dancing. I mean, you really want to make sure your performers have that presence, that you can see them on the stage, rolling around, doing their thing.
Yeah.
And it's just really impossible to see the act. You can hear the music, but see the performance of the performers is really a missing opportunity to enhance that visitor experience. So that band shell will solve that issue by being elevated and being open.
Yeah.
You'll see the whole thing, which I think would be a tremendous benefit for everyone that comes and enjoys that space.
And acoustically, big improvement.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
It's just a better, efficient use of that wonderful green space that you currently have.
So the question I have is, do we want to have a special meeting, staff, where we would like to talk, because I like what trustee Geezer said. We need to figure out what we want to do and what we have. In fact, it's funny because I wrote down what you were talking. I had them down ahead of time. So a lot of us probably feel the same way. We know what we need to do. So, no, I got them right here. Thank you for your presentation. Do we want to go through person by person and go through, or do you want to just, I think we need to.
We're not, I don't think.
We're not going to accomplish anything by going
We're
from
just
person
talking
to
about
person.
stuff that,
I think we need to have a meeting where we would have either before a staff, before a board meeting, and maybe spend an hour or so, 2 hours.
And we all need to chew on.
Yes. we
Really
need to-
looking
right.
at,
This is the first time that we're really getting our hands on this to really go through it. You did a great job of giving us options.
Very good.
Yeah.
A lot of great ideas. I recommend you for anything in the future, so I appreciate that.
And we certainly want to keep
We
working.
got to figure out where we want to spend our money, what we need to do now, where we want to go with this. We're talking, maybe we say, what does West Chicago do? Well, what does 12 other towns are not anywhere near as good as we are, and yet we want to make it better, but we don't have enough room to put the people when they come. So, I mean, I looked at some of the plans that you had across the street to park cars. I mean, to spend $600,000-700,000 to buy a piece of property, then put a parking lot there, and then trying to get them across Gary Avenue, that would be dangerous.
Yeah, we nixed that. We looked at restriping the existing lot. That didn't yield more. I think and obviously we didn't want to get in every little detail on this meeting, but I think the reality is probably busing, shuttling people in
We've
ends up
done
being.
that. We do bus them, and
Yeah.
we bring them in. We put them at Glenbard North, or we put them at one of the industrial buildings. I mean, the question is how much do we want to spend on a space that's that big? We can't make the space bigger. There's no way. We're surrounded with water and roads. So we have to figure out, what do we want to do as Carroll Stream? That's what we need.
and what do we want it to be?
Right, exactly. I mean, and I know we're never gonna get the Rolling Stones, so I mean, to say we need more seating, we do need some shelter, definitely need toilets, there's no question
And
about
power
it.
upgrade.
And a power upgrade, we all know that's, those are things that you brought out that we know we need to do. The question is now, I think we need to do something about it, so.
So Mayor, the opportunity tonight was for the board to ask questions of the consultant and see everything that was put together. We can certainly have a separate meeting or get some feedback from the board on the side, and then we can move forward as we go into budget season.
Well, I think it's important that we all digest this and try to figure out it. I'm not going to stop anybody that wants to talk. If anyone's got any questions that they want to ask, I think it's, now's the time to do it. But to go through item by item, I think we're wasting.
Spinning wheels.
Yeah, well, I mean, it'd be nice to hear everybody one at a time to hear what they have.
and questions are one thing, but comments, and, I mean, we can just be repeating ourselves.
Exactly. I mean, I wouldn't have really after
Because
trustee.
I
Geezer
said
got-
it best.
After Geezer got done, I got all of what he said already.
Yeah, and I actually tend to agree with him too. I mean, that's kind of where I was gonna go.
I mean, basically, it is what we are, Carroll Stream. This isn't Naperville, this isn't, Schaumburg. This
Grove
isn't-
Village.
Elk Grove Village. I mean, we're a different type of community. So we have to look at what fits what we do. That's what do we want for the residents?
Yeah.
And I think the board can come to a conclusion of what that is, and I think you gave us a lot of good ideas, and a lot of them will probably fall right into place of what we want to do.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what the design development stage is for too, is to kind of really start to hone in on that and get down to what do we really want, what don't we want, and what's the real hard cost going to be as we really start to see what are the.
Definitely not the play
pieces
area.
look like.
We've really kind of, probably should have done more, but this board in the village, we don't just throw millions of dollars at anything. That's why we don't owe anybody any money, why we pay as we go. The thought of borrowing money to build that would be a nix for me right off the bat. That ain't gonna happen. I mean, I'm not borrowing money at 6 or 7% for some people to come and sit in our town center that don't even live here 5 times a year, because that doesn't make sense. So, and I think we all feel basically the same way. We want to make it better for the residents, but how do we do that economically where we don't kill them at the same time? We don't want to do that, so.
Well, Mayor, when we do our research, The best thing you can do is, we call extended stay. Comfort amenities, bathrooms, shade, enhanced sitting opportunities, electrical infrastructure, the things that make the space function much better. You have great bones to the project, so the first phase focuses on those kind of things. So I think that would automatically improve the experience of the folks using that space. And then the next thing is called fall in line. If that provides success and more opportunities, then think about some of the other amenities like the playgrounds and the other things that just create more of those aesthetics. But work on the bones, get all that right, which was pretty clear from the SWOT that there's things that need to be done from infrastructure and just from a user standpoint to make it a better experience.
May I say something? Since I have a little bit of experience at Town Center, I've actually run multiple community events hosting 5,000 to 6,000 people in a day. So I know the bones of Town Center in my sleep. I will say that this is an excellent design. I think that you've captured what Carol Stream eventually wants to do. What I would say is there are definitely some very expensive amenities in here that Carol Stream probably, like, a playground is great, but I don't think you're ever going to get me to say, yeah, let's put in another playground, because it's just another opportunity for children to be children and parents to stop paying attention. The electricity for me is always going to be a concern, just because of confined space. I don't like putting our employees at danger. However, I think that this is a great design, and I think functionally we could have some really great events out there. But we're also Carol Stream, and we're pretty resourceful, and we can make anything work. The one thing I really like is getting that storage and moving it out of the field, because that has always been a huge obstacle. It used to be a dumpster enclosure, and then we took the dumpsters out years ago, and now it's just a dumping ground for equipment sometimes, and then it sits there empty, and it is an obstacle. So just cleaning some of that stuff up, we can actually do some of these projects in-house and save money. And that's the wonderful thing about our staff, is they're very creative when it comes to what can we do in-house and what do we need to do outside with, not outhouse, although those are ideas for bathrooms. But yes, but I think that my recommendation is, and I like your idea, is we need a meeting, not just gather the ideas and the feedback from the staff. I think we need a separate meeting where we can talk through this and talk through our ideas.
Well, we're coming into our budget process. One of the things that I think that bothered me at the beginning was I don't want to compete with our park district. I don't want a play area. I don't want a splash pad. I don't want, some of that stuff we've tried in this town. They've tried and they failed poorly at it. For us to start spending money because we want to draw more people in for concerts, now to have a park and have, there's no question here, garbage, yes, absolutely, move it. I'm right, I knew we were going to have those questions. Those are all the things that we know we need to do that we just haven't done. You know, play area, I put no. Anybody wants a play area, need to go to, we got parks all over this town. Why would
And
we
we've been
want to put that
yeah.
and take any space up at all? Where we don't have the space to give up anything for swings or anything. I mean, so I
We've been
mean, I think
consulting
we're
with-
all on the same
Yeah,
page. I
underground
think
pools
you
seem
gave
like a
us
bad idea
plenty
for a
of
park,
things
too.
to think about, and yeah, exactly. I mean, so,
Yeah, and we've been consulting with the park district to find out what they need, what they
done
don't.
an excellent job putting this together, and I agree with Mary. That really is a great design. But we know, we got 7 or 8 things that you just convinced me, we need to do them now. We know we need to do them, now we got to do them.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any questions, any other questions? Good. Thank you very much for coming in. Thank you for doing the job, and I would recommend use to anybody that you ever need a reference. We'll be glad to do it.
Feel free to reach out if any questions come up, and then we're
Well,
happy
they
to
may
help
be
you out. with the next
contacting you for some ideas. We're pretty good at grants and stuff like that, but that would be a different area for us. That would be more like the Park District grant, so
Yeah, we can help with the ASLAC grants and.
that would be good. Excellent.
Have happy holidays.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's it.
So we go to report officers. Mr. Rhodes, you still here? Oh, there you are. Okay. Report officers? Okay. We don't have to do nothing with this, it's just exploratory. Okay. Trustee Anselmo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Of course, congratulations to Commander Buchholz, Commander Gray, and Sergeant Pope. Christmas sharing last week. I want to thank all the volunteers and donors that came out. The generosity helped serve 222 families and provide toys for 500 children. And as we all know, the holiday and Christmas season is upon us. I want to thank all of our residents for their holiday decorations this year to help get us all in the Christmas spirit. I know for me, sometimes the season comes and gets here so fast, so I'm just not feeling it, but the lights in the neighborhoods has certainly helped for me. During the Christmas season, we often use this time to reflect on past Christmases with families and our friends. We look back on at the past year and be thankful for our health, our family, and being together during the season. I have to say I'm thankful for being part of this team, part of this board with all of you, the village staff, and serving our community. And Merry Christmas to our Carroll Stream residents, and a safe and happy New Year. That ends my report.
Thank you, Trustee Anselmo. Trustee Berger.
Thank you. Joe Carey, we haven't worked together long. I haven't worked with anybody long compared to other people sitting up here, but thank you for everything you've done for the village, and best of luck going forward. I would also like to wish you luck in finding a board as good as this one to work with. So thank you. Commander Buchholz, Commander Gray, Sergeant Pope, congratulations. I'm sure they're out celebrating already. And they just left, but I wanted to thank Manhard Consulting for putting all this together. I think it's kind of fun to look at all the possibilities, and I get excited about it. Now, we just got to figure out how to pay for it. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. But I'm not ending my report on that note. I would like to wish congratulations to my daughter, Tyler, and her now fiance, Andrew. They got engaged yesterday. I got to be the only one in the family to witness the big event because I have camera equipment, not because they like me the most. Otherwise, my wife would have been there. They got engaged at the Milwaukee Museum of Art. He said he was going to bring her outside around a certain time and that I had to be ready. I realized that all sides of the museum were windows, and so my plan A was shot just to hide around the corner. So I ended up hiding it underneath a pedestrian bridge until they came out, and luckily I have a 400 millimeter lens. But then he took her to the other side, so then I had to go and follow them, and I kept ducking behind pillars and everything.
You didn't look creepy at all.
No, not at all. But I did keep up with them. I did get pictures of the whole event, so I was very honored to be there. So I'd just like to congratulate them. And I would also like to say I'm happy that they're not in a rush to get married, that they're looking at a long engagement, so I can find a way to, pay for part of it. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Trustee Berger. Trustee Zale.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First off, I want to congratulate Commander Buchholz, Commander Gray, and Sergeant Pope. I worked alongside them in patrol when I was on the job, and they will make wonderful leaders, because this department is getting younger because of all the retirements. Good leadership is going to be paramount to make this a better department. So, and they are good leaders. I worked alongside all of them, and so we're in good hands. Thank you, Joe, and good luck in your future endeavors. There is a community blood drive. I'm a fourth degree knight at the Knights of Columbus at Corpus Christi, and they want me to promote the Carroll Stream blood drive. It's happening Thursday, this Thursday, December 21st at Fountain View, and you can go on my page and the Carroll Stream page, and I'm sure there's going to be all over Facebook a QR code where you can make appointments. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody. And let's keep our military and our first responders in your thoughts and prayers. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too, congratulations to Commanders Buckholz and Gray and Sergeant Pope, and good luck, Joe, in the future. It's been a pleasure working with you. Trustee Anselmo mentioned the holiday lights. Well, I'll be taking the judges out tomorrow to take a look at all the nominated homes in the annual decorating contest. There are 36 nominated homes. If you're not familiar or not aware, you can go to the website, carolstream.org, see a story map, and go on your own personal tour of the homes. And pay attention to the village's Facebook page on Wednesday. The winning entries will be announced on the Facebook page on Wednesday, and then we'll honor the winners in January. And let's see, and as was mentioned, Christmas sharing was terrific. Thank you to all the volunteers, especially the staff here and social services for all they did, for residents throughout the year. Wishing everybody, staff, board members, Mr. Mayor, a very happy new year, a very Merry Christmas, happy holidays to everyone. Look forward to another successful upcoming year, 2024. That is my report.
Thank you, Trustee Gazer. Trustee Frizzaloni.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to say thank you to the Police Department, Chief Cummings, and also to Deputy Chief Brian Cleaver. Last week, I hosted the Young Men's Service League, the 9th and 10th graders. They did a tour of the police department, and then we did a quick overview with Trustee Berger of what local government is. So the 9th and 10th graders, every year, they study what is local government. And years ago, we started piggybacking on and adding the police department tour, so that they get an idea of what happens in our town. And you know, it's also a public education opportunity. I think the boys actually enjoy seeing the jail cells more than they like hearing about local government, although they do love being able to pound your gavel. So that's always a highlight of the evening as well. So thank you to Young Men's Service League and to the police department for hosting. Bill, you will be happy to know that the chief was at his desk late working on budgets. It was well after 7 o'clock, and he was burning that midnight oil. So, John, he said he was using a calculator even to make sure, just so you're aware. Christmas sharing was absolutely amazing, but it does not happen by itself. It definitely takes a village. So thank you to staff, social services, our businesses, our residents. We literally could not do it without an awful lot of help and support. So thank you for that. Congratulations to Commander Buckholz and Commander Gray and Sergeant Pope. I'm just immensely proud of them. I know each one of them personally. I've stood side by side with them when I was at the Park District at different events. Sergeant Pope was amazing at Lombard North with my boys there. So I just want to say thank you to them and congratulations. While I believe it was John Buckholz had said that he was sorry that they were monopolizing our board meetings. These are awesome ways to monopolize our board meetings. So we've got a great command staff, and you guys have a lot of work to do, but you have our support always. And then the only other thing I just want to say is a very sincere thank you to our staff. This has been, like every year, we've had our challenges, we've had fun, but there's been an awful lot of hard work that's been done. So thank you for the long hours and the dedication. And I think I've said this before, maybe in budget meetings, for people who, most of you don't live in Carroll Stream, but you spend so much of your time here, you act and you treat our town as if you live here, and that this is the most important thing that you can do, and we really appreciate it. Our residents really appreciate it. We are blessed to have the staff that we do. So very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and Happy New Year. Take some time off, enjoy time with your family. Don't worry about the budgets. John will make sure that the budgets get done. But we're looking forward to a very, very productive new year next year. So take some time off and enjoy yourselves. And to the rest of the board, thank you. It's been a challenging year for me personally. When you are having some of the worst times of your life and you've got the support that I've had, it's amazing. So I just wanted to say personally, thank you for the friendship. Thank you for being one team Carol Stream. Thank you for having my back. And with that, Mr. Mayor, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Merry Christmas to you guys. Happy holidays. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Trustee Frizzaloni. Trustee McCarthy.
Well, again, congratulations on the well-deserved promotions of Commanders Buckles and Gray and Sergeant Pope. And I love how many people, you've got the fire department here, you've got current and former command staff and retirees and police officers, and it's great to see, again, the family atmosphere and the mutual support all the way across the board, and we all feel the same way. So it's just always great to see, and congratulations. The Police Department, Social Services Department hits it out of the park again with Christmas sharing. There, yes, thank you to all the volunteers and everybody who's donated, but somebody's got to steer that ship, and they steer it as about as precisely as you can. The amount of work they put in is unbelievable, and it is very much appreciated. DARE graduation this past Wednesday also? Wednesday? Yeah, it was on Wednesday, right?
Wednesday.
We actually, this is the first time we did all the schools.
Well, three of the six.
Three of them. Half the schools, half schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, first time we was on stage, that was weird. But congratulations to the kids, and the one thing I say anytime I speak at those is, I believe as long as this board's here, DARE will always be supported, both for learning about drug resistance and anti-bullying and everything else, but also the positive impact that Officer Castro has on the families, the kids, and the schools. I think you can't put a price on that, and you can't put a price on kids coming up 5 years later and walking up to their DARE officer and still calling them a DARE officer. Positive impacts with law enforcement is one of the most important things we can do to make sure everybody knows that the police are here for us, and it's not a us against them. So, Chief, everybody in the police department did awesome, as usual. Merry Christmas to everybody up here. Merry Christmas to staff and of course, our residents. Staff, great job, as Trustee Frizzaloni said. Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you for everything everybody's done this year, and I look forward to another positive year next year. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Trustee McCarthy. Brianna Bacigalupo, do you have anything?
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to wish everyone here Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year, and I look forward to working with you all in the new year.
Thank you. Clerk Swarzy?
Couldn't write that fast enough. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'll be brief too. Congratulations to Commander Buckholz and Commander Gray and Sergeant Pope. Well-deserved, really excited to have them in leadership roles. And congratulations, Joe, on your new career in human resources. And I'm glad you'll be working with Jane Lentino, who's the village clerk there now in Schaumburg and was formerly here. And it's been a pleasure working with you for the last couple of years. And I appreciate all your help, getting me started with my roll call tracker sheets. It was a big help. And thanks for covering when I've been absent. Thank you. And also, as Trustee Zalik said, the blood drive this Thursday, there's always a high need, so if anybody can do that, it's from 2 to 6 p.m. at Fountain View, as Trustee Zalik mentioned. Congratulations, Trustee Berger, on your daughter's engagement. That's huge. I'm really excited for you. So, and other than that, just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and looking forward to next year with everybody. And shop and dine Carol Stream.
Thought you were going to forget.
I almost forgot.
Need it for the next
I
video.
was trying to be quick, because I'm watching trustee Zalek's eyes roll, and so I'm like, be quick.
Ignore him.
All right, I'll squeeze in here.
Mr. Rhodes, our village, oh, I'm sorry, trustee McCarthy had.
And I was remiss to mention you, Joe. And no, because when you started here, you got put in about the toughest position you can go in when you start a job in your capacity, because you jumped in right at the beginning of COVID. And that made it difficult for you, navigating the waters. I appreciate everything you've done. I appreciate what you've done for the village and how hard you work. And I have no doubt you will excel as you move on. And I wish you nothing but great luck, but I don't think you're going to need it, because I think you'll do great. Congratulations.
Thank you. Mr. Rhodes, our village attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, Joe, it's been a pleasure to work with you. I'm glad I've had that opportunity, and I do wish you the best, and I'm sure our paths will cross in the future. So good luck to you. My congratulations to Commanders Buckholz and Gray, as everyone else has said, and Sergeant Pope. Terrific candidates and now terrific, and they're going to be terrific in their new positions. Congratulations to the board on a successful year. It has had its challenges for the board, but I think everybody has come through it very, very well. And we've had a lot of different movement in terms of positions, but as they say in football, it's the next man up, and I think here it's the next man or woman up, and it just keeps moving, and it keeps getting better and better. So I congratulate you for that. And then lastly, my wish to this board and to staff and to the residents for a very Merry Christmas, a very happy holiday and holiday season, and a healthy and happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Our village manager, Mr. Homer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to congratulate all of the officers recently promoted, including the chief and deputy chief. We really have put together, I think, a solid leadership team, and I'm excited to see them move forward. We will not meet on January 2nd. That meeting is canceled. And I want to remind residents, since we won't be meeting, that Flood Brothers will collect live Christmas trees and greenery from January 2nd to the 12th during the regular pickups. And village offices will be closed December 25th and 26th, and also January 1st for the holidays. I want to wish Joe good luck, and thank you for everything. And Merry Christmas to everybody.
Thank you. Okay. Joe, you've been a pleasure to work with. I thought I would be the only one to say that, because I wasn't sure that everybody knew you were leaving, even though we had it in the weekly. But you've been, for me, you've been good to work with. I know you're going to a town that's a lot bigger than ours, and I know you're going to have a lot bigger job there. You handle that, and I'm sure we haven't seen the last of you. So I told you earlier when we had our conversation, you need a reference on anything. You got it. We all feel the same way, and it was nice that everybody all had nice things to say. But you have been good to work with. You've had your hands full at times. I mean, we've made a lot of changes. And this year is probably more changes than any of us seen in the 20-some years that I've been here. I've never had that many changes at one time. I mean, our whole police department basically has changed. Our Public Works Department has changed. Our staff in the office basically has changed. So we have had a lot of major changes. Thank God we still got John Batek and Bill and Don Bastian, because those are the key players here, and it's nice to have some stability here. So, but this has been, and I have to go along with Trustee Frizzoloni, this has been a rough year for some of us. You talked about the DARE commencement. I don't miss any. I missed this one. Thank yous for filling in, as usual. I don't ever miss Christmas sharing. I missed it this year, not because I wanted to. My wife and my family comes first, and I know that I've got all of you, and like you said, to back each other up. We all take care of each other, and that makes me feel really good to be the mayor, where we have the continuity that we have to have everybody jump in and get things done. You're never alone on this board or in this town, that's for sure. John Buckholz, I've known for a long time. I've had many sit-downs with him when he was union steward in the early days, when he was just a patrolman. Excellent to work with. John Gray, another excellent person to work with. And Pope, there's something special about him. I'm not sure what that is, but he just has the ability to be able to make you feel like you belong with him. And from the very first day that I met him, that's how I felt, and he proved that by winning the award and being at Glenbard North. The students felt the same way with him. I mean, he just has that personality that you want to sit and talk to him, or kind of like maybe share things with him. So it's a great move, and I'm glad to have all of his family and all of his friends here at the same time. This has been a tough year. I mean, we've made a lot of changes. We've got a lot of things going, and we've accomplished a lot of things this year. We still have no debt. We still have the main thing that we do is take care of the residents of this town and the businesses. I love the relationship that the police department and the fire department have by working so professionally together. Very, very important that we keep that relationship, Chief, and I know you work on it, I thank you. It's very important. It's a safe thing to keep people, and I've said it, and I can't even explain how many times I do all the shopping, so I'm out in the community all the time. I'm everywhere. How many people have come up to me and say, Mayor, keep us safe. It's the most important thing. Keep us safe. They see what's happening east of here, and not that far east anymore, and they want to make sure. I feel sometimes, we want to be like a big town with the downtown. We want to have a train station. We don't have a Diamond District. We also don't have the burglars and the problems that other towns have, because they have those things. What are you going to crash your car into the 7-Eleven and steal cigarettes? I mean, this is not, we're more of a community of people, and I say it all the time. That's why I live here. If I want to buy diamonds, I'll go to the Diamond District, wherever that's at. I'm still looking for that. But, I mean, there's other places to go. I'm just glad that we have what we have here. But we have people that are just wonderful people. We're surrounded with them. So, and I'm surrounded with a board that I feel very comfortable with, and a staff that I work so close with. We work so good together and get so much done. That's why it's so important that we always have open dialogue that we have. So I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, prosperous and healthy. More than anything is have your health. You'll find that out as you get older. When you don't have your health, you kind of lose everything, and then you lose people you love. So we understand each other. You're never alone. So with that, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Anselmo?
Aye.
Trustee Purcher?
Aye.
Trustee Zales?
Aye.
Trustee Gizer?
Aye.
Trustee Frizzaloni?
I guess aye.
Trustee McCarthy?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
I want to have someone, hey, Chief, can we get someone to follow Trustee Zalick, make sure he's doing the speed